All right, let's get started. I have Luca here with us. If you've been looking into day trading, you've been looking to acquire remote skills that you can do from anywhere around the world, you're going to want to tune in because I have a very special guest named Luca, who is a professional day trader. With that being said, Luca, if you can give everybody a 30-foot overview of your background and, just who you are.
Yeah, so what's up, everyone? My name is Luca. I go by Luca No Limit on social media. The No Limit comes from No Limit Trading. I started that in 2020. It's just a platform where I try and educate traders and help them become professional traders, or whatever level they want to kind of pursue and get to. I never really thought of myself as to be like a finance guy or be into the stock market or any of that type of stuff, but here I am, grinding, doing this as a full-time job. In 2020, I was like a college student when I first learned how to start trading. And, I had a lot of struggles of going up and down, not having a lot of money, to try to turn that last little money into multiple six figures in the trade industry, as well as other businesses and all that type of stuff. So I now full-time day trade. I teach people. I do live streams. I have a podcast as well. And it's kind of what I do YouTube.
Nice. And with that, how is your time split? Because you have the trading part, right? You have social media, and then you actually have, the business you're running, right? So, what's that look like? Is it evenly split? Yeah,
it's kind of hard, especially being a day trader, because a lot of people know that we have a lot of weird hours we like to trade at. For me, I trade kind of London session and New York session, which, if you don't know what that means, the London session is when like the London banks open over in their time zone, which is usually around midnight our time in California. At least that's where I am. And then there's the New York session, which is the New York Stock Exchange open, which is at 6:30 a.m. my time, which is 9:30 Eastern. And because I'm trying to catch both sessions, I do have kind of a weird sleep schedule. I don't get a lot of sleep, so it is kind of hard fitting both those in while also trying to run other businesses like my podcast and teaching people and hold Zoom meetings and do meetings and have to meet for podcasts and do other businesses. So, it definitely is hard, but my time is really split. If you want to start from like the morning, I wake up around 5:45 a.m. I'm usually on my computer by like 6:15, 6:20, and then that 6:30 is when the New York Stock Exchange opens and I'm trying to catch a trade. Once that happens, I usually will trade for about an hour and a half, and then from there I usually am answering questions, hopping on quick Zooms with maybe students, or doing like a live stream, or like maybe doing something on Instagram, making a reel, posting that. And then the first kind of part of my day, I try to go and like work out here at my gym, get that done early. And then after that, I'm just on my computer, honestly, answering a lot of emails, getting on with people, doing Zooms, and getting prepared for the nighttime session, which then kind of a similar thing. I try to catch that London session open, catch some trades, and then fall asleep, wake up for New York, and do it all over again.
Got it. So pretty packed schedule. And with that being said, I know that for me at least, when I first saw anybody trade or really build any type of online business, it seemed really amazing. It also seemed like another world in a way. I'm trying to like take myself back to that because it's been like 10 years since I've been working for myself. And I think for a lot of people that maybe see somebody, that has an online business, is, trading, right? It's all things you could do remotely from anywhere in the world, right? What was it? What just kind of curious, like on your end, success-wise, what has been your biggest day you've made? Like just, coaching, trading, just all together. What's been your biggest day, with everything online?
So with trading, I would say the biggest trade day I've ever had is I've cracked like that 10K days, which is I've obviously been trying to do that for a long time. I'm trying to slowly increase my lot sizes and increase my risk to make that kind of more regular, where it's not like it's not surprising if I do a 10K day or whatever it might be. But when it comes to like the biggest day with multiple businesses, I'm not entirely sure because I really focus on trading. Like that's where I get the majority of my income from, is just trading. I obviously make money with like the mentorships that I kind of run, but I don't have like a course that I sell or anything like that. So I would say maybe like the biggest day has been close to maybe like 15K or something. you
So
know?
in total, just with everything.
Yeah, probably around there.
When you say mentorship, you mean like you don't necessarily have a course, but you'll take people on one-on-one kind of deal, just work with
I
them,
do
or
some
is it?
yeah. So I'll do some like one-on-one hour-long like Zoom sessions to do that week to week or month to month, but as well as I do like a signal room, which I share my trade ideas. Where if I'm looking at certain trades during a session or whatever, I share that into the group to, um, whoever is, part of the mentorship.
Okay, got it, got it. And then with your biggest day in profits, there comes the alternate, which is
Yeah,
what's your
yeah,
biggest day in losses?
yeah. So I haven't had any like super in. Oh, actually, I mean, there's definitely been some bad days because in trading and back when I first learned how to trade, there's a lot of like volatility when it comes to like trading news and all this type of stuff where whatever risk you might think that you have in place, it might not actually be in place because it could get slipped. News can move too fast where you lose a lot more than you were expecting. There's just all these different variables, or whatever. But yeah, I've had some big losses in trading. I would say my biggest loss is around 6K in a day, which obviously was a big hit. But there's obviously, a lot of, with all ups comes downs, which is just a part of
Mm,
trading that like, happens. But, I
yeah.
would say that that's pretty big-ish, but I think that in the future I'll be taking bigger wins, but there'll also be bigger losses along the way.
Yeah, of course. And when you're trading, right, and say you're working with someone and you're trying to coach them on maybe moving into this as a side hustle, then maybe full time, right? Are you teaching them to here's a strategy to build a small account to a big account? Or are you kind of saying, hey, it depends on how much capital, you should just kind of grow this a few percent every month? What's your general advice? And obviously it's
Yeah.
sometimes specific, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So the way that I kind of tell people in my group is I do have some like free videos in there that teaches you how to compound an account, all that type of stuff. Where yeah, I would work on compounding an account instead of flipping it. I think that
Mm,
trying to pick a certain smaller kind of risk to then stick to that risk and
mm,
like I said, compound the account. If you risk, let's say 5% or 2% or whatever, you have so many trades before you build the account. Whereas if you're trying to flip an account, you're risking 30 to 50% in 2, 3 trades, your whole account is gone. So I never really recommend anyone to kind of do that. So I definitely
mm,
recommend anyone out there who is trying to get into trading to pick a number, like whatever size account that you feel comfortable risking, put that in, and then figure out how much you kind of want to be making a day and what would that kind of work out percentage wise on that account. And then I recommend only taking 1 to 2 trades a day. So if you know how much you're going to be risking, and you know that if you're taking 2 trades a day, if you were to lose those 2 trades, what's like the maximum like you should be losing in a day? I think it's all about knowing how much you're going to be risking, and then also when you do have a trade idea, knowing how much you potentially will gain out of that trade. To compound your account.
got it. And then when you were first getting started, how did you kind of how'd you learn? Did you have a mentor? Did you go the YouTube University route?
Yeah, so I learned through an online company called oh my god, IML. It's like iMarkets Live. I think they're called like something else now, like iMarkets Academy. But
Sure.
they're just like an online company that basically like tries to sell you the dream of being this full-time trader and telling you that they're going to teach you to be this full-time trader, but it's really just one of those like schemes to invite your friends to come and join, and then your cost will be waived and all that type of stuff. So I personally didn't really learn a lot from there. I
Mm,
honestly just like was giving them money to really I don't want to say I'm mad that I joined because that's what introduced me to trading and got me trading in the first place. So I'm obviously not mad that I did it, but I definitely didn't think that I learned anything in there. So I went from there really to like YouTube University, as well as I had like a mentor of mine
mm.
who was just someone who I met through Telegram, who really coached me up to really tell me the basics that really jump started my trading career to get me to that next level, and then eventually like started basically doing more right things than wrong, and then from there on just kept leveling up.
Got it, got it. Actually, crazy story. So 10 years ago, I was working with a guy named Grant Cardone. I was a dude. First, I was like the mail boy, and then I was like get his coffee, and then I was doing cold calling, appointment setting, then sales, and I was a sales and marketing manager. But point being is, I had a spot in Miami, and I had this 2 bedroom spot, and then at that time, I had 2 people sleeping on my couch. I had Matt Rosa, and I had Jason as well, who I think is a CEO now, but they were sleeping on my couch along with Tyrone Foster, who I think is an educator with them.
Crazy.
But yeah, those guys, I've known them for a while. And the guy that actually taught them trading, he still actually works with me. He did teach trading online for a while, and he was doing a few million in his education company, but he made I'll call it a fortune with crypto the last bull run. So he kind of went
Yeah,
off the internet. But he was actually the guy that originally taught them how to trade, which was pretty crazy.
that is crazy.
Yeah. They do have people that trade in the company, but it's not really the main purpose, right?
Hmm.
So basically, you kind of ventured away from that and kind of just sought out a mentor. And did you actually pay for a mentorship, or did you guys just kind of connect, or?
So the guy who helped me out, I actually did not pay for the mentorship. It was just someone who I met through a free group that I actually just randomly got invited to, which is just the cool, which is how cool social media is. But there are mentorships I ended up buying along the way that did help me and didn't help me. But I do recommend for anyone out there who is trying to get into trading that like getting that one-on-one help to actually be on Zoom with someone or actually be able to ask your questions and get them answered through a mentor is really important because you can get a course and the course will have those videos showing you how to trade A through Z. But if you have those questions that you don't understand, a lot of the time that mentor, whoever you bought the course from, isn't necessarily there to answer the question. So that's why I like recommend finding groups like, I'm not trying to like just plug like the what I have, but like
But
that has like a chat room. Like it has a
yeah,
chat room that people can converse. That if
yeah.
anyone has a question, they can ask it in the chat room so that like it can get answered, or they can tag me or message me directly to get it answered. You know what I'm saying? Rather than
Yeah.
just a course. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. But if you guys needed a group, there happens to be
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. I know. I was like, how do you say that without? Yeah. Don't say mine. There's other ones out there. It's not just mine, but
Yeah.
I just, like I said, just being around like-minded individuals that you can talk to get. Dude, there's like such little things in trading that are so simple now that like I'm obviously where I'm at, but at that time I had no idea how to do, and it was
Mm,
having to connect with those people in chat rooms and ask little questions that got them answered. It wasn't going on
mm.
and trying to buy courses and stuff.
What do you think is the biggest problem that actually stops people from, doing day trading or trading, yeah, in general?
I think that a lot of people look at trading as a get rich fast just scheme, and they treat it like that off the jump, where it really is a skill set. And a lot of people kind of like to compare it to gambling, and it's because it can have similar characteristics because there's different type of trading with when it comes to like futures or options or forex or whatever. But when it comes to trading like futures or forex, it's really just you're longing or shorting. You either can buy or sell, which is like technically 50-50 chances if you can buy or sell, and the market can either go up or down. That kind of statistic really goes over a lot of traders' heads because they get so over um, they get so much information. They have an information overload of trying to learn so many courses, trying to learn from so many
Mm,
different people. They jump from strategy to strategy that they never really even get the chance to try to become a full-time trader because they get caught doing so many different things because there's so many different strategies out there. There's so many different people you can learn from that will explain it differently. Um, I just think that a lot of people want to get rich really quick, so they'll try to buy one course, try to like learn it really fast and go and trade. They'll blow their account, be like, oh, it's not working. Okay, go buy another course, try to do that guy's things. Oh, it won't work. Go try to do another one. Where like in my opinion, if you're out there and you're really trying to learn how to trade, I would stick to one strategy, do it over a period of time, and after 3 months, if it's just you can't figure it out and it's not working, then try to find another strategy. But really like take a strategy and back test it where you know the ins and outs of the strategy and you're not just like relying on someone who told you like, oh, these do these three things and when the trade's doing this and then take this position. You know what I'm saying? Like really backtest a strategy and have proof of concept that your concept works in the markets. And then once you have that, you once again can really trade any type of markets.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it sounds like, the get rich quick scheme mindset, and that causes people to maybe be a little bit too aggressive on the trading side, or they just, maybe don't have they're not looking at it from a statistical standpoint, right? They're just kind of looking at it in a way where, hey, I'm gonna trade, and they treat it like gambling, basically.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, yeah.
Instead of treating it like a business.
Got
Because
it.
you can treat trading like a business if you really think about it, and it goes over a lot of people's heads. You can have what your income versus outcome is versus like what's your P&L, how much did you spend on certain things, like what that there's all these different characteristics you can really look at your trading and apply it to a business. Whereas I would recommend doing that instead of looking at it as gambling.
Yeah. No, so obviously I told you I had a buddy that he's been trading for a long time, over a decade, and for me, I have another friend who was a business partner, but he's a developer, so he develops EAs, but he works at a hedge fund in El Salvador. And basically, when I met him, he really opened my mind up to the fact that you could backtesting, you could do it manually, but you could actually have a tool where you backtest your strategy over a decade. And the cool thing is like when you do that, you could actually see that certain strategies will work well for 8 months, and then they might have a 2 or 3 month period. So you could actually be using a winning strategy, but because you happen to trade in that two month period or a month period, you're losing. So then you think the strategy doesn't work, but in the year it would have been profitable. So that was the thing that he showed me. And I thought it was pretty interesting, because it made me think about like most people that buy any type of education, and this is outside of trading, they get into it with the expectation of, hey, I'm going to try this out. I'm going to do it for 30 days and I'm going to see what happens. And if not, dude, I'm going to ask for a refund. Or I'm just going to give it a shot. Right. But the thing is I've realized that, for me, just like working with clients, I've seen people where month 1, month 2, month 3, maybe their business or whatever they're doing, it slightly increases, maybe it stays the same, but they have that breakthrough in month 4, month 6, month 7, sometimes it's month 8, right? But I think the important thing is like if you are learning any skill set, you should document the things that you do that were successful, and just understand that maybe that piece to the puzzle, maybe you're like 1 or 2 pieces away from the puzzle to like making the thing work and having a quantum leap. And I think that's the problem with most people when they jump into, the online space, or they try to start a business online, or they try to start trading, right? Because what does someone pay in the US, right, for their degree nowadays? Like, what's the average cost? Do you know?
I don't know what the average is, but I know it's a lot.
Yeah, it's 50K, 200K. Like, it just depends on what school you went to. I went to Cornell University. That's considered an Ivy League school. So it's like, dude, it's 50 grand a semester. Like, people, and probably even more now. I don't even know what it is now. But point being is, people will go into school and spend 50 grand and basically not really learn anything. And most people will get a job in a different field. And that's totally normal because societies program us to believe that is normal. But when they try to start an online business and maybe they hire someone to, like yourself or myself, to learn a skill set, they're like, dude, I'm going to pay you. Dude, I know that it's a couple grand, and dude, I need to see results in the next 30 days. It's like you literally pay $1,500 to $3 grand per a college credit, and you're studying fucking, I don't know, dude, like astrology. And
like theorem.
nothing goes through their head where it's like, dude, after I study this astrology course, I better fucking make some money from this, my job, so it's just backwards. I don't know.
I took cosmic physics in college. Like, what am I gonna do with that? Like,
dude, like, you mean you didn't get an ROI on that?
Yeah, like I got no ROI. There's no return on investment with my I spent a lot of time learning how to figure out the Pythagorean theorem, but where I had to use that. No, but so I like what you're saying.
Your first job really interview, they didn't ask you, dude, what's the cosmic fucking no?
Yeah, no, surprisingly not. But going back to what you're saying about the one of the things I like that you were saying about there's a strategy that could work for 8 or 9 months, but then but if you try it for those 1 to 3 months that didn't work, you're gonna think
Mm-hmm.
that the strategy doesn't work. So similarly to that, one thing that I try and preach also is that there's gonna be strategies out there where like trading in general is a game of probabilities, where you
Mm-hmm.
have edges in the market and you have strategies and theories that if you do X, Y, and Z a certain amount of times in the market, you're gonna win this many times out of 10. So let's say you have a 70% win rate. If what I kind of want to tell people out there is that if you have a 70% win rate and you take 10 trades and that means that you're going to win 7 of them. But if there's 10 of those setups that occur in front of you and you only decide to execute on 3 of them, what if the 3 that you do execute on are all the bad trades? The probabilities were not in
Mm-hmm.
your favor. You know what I'm saying? So like you got to shoot. You really just got to shoot once you have proof of concept and from backtesting that that's going to work out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And that is, the thing is, I want to correlate to this, to something outside of trading as well. It's the same thing with like running ads. So what I learned, so there's a buddy of mine that I met. I was in a Ty Lopez mastermind in 2018. It was like his 25K mastermind. And I met this guy that led me to another guy. And basically, I got connected with my buddy Jan, who runs a lot of ads. This guy's probably spent like 20 million of his own cash in ads and then spent more of other people's money. He does like a lot of affiliate work. He has his own brands. But point being is, he came to my house and we were talking about running ads. And at the end of it, my question to him was like, dude, just give me the formula to run ads. And he's like, you see, Nick, what I do is I test everything the platform offers, and then once I find something that works, I double down on it and I spend more money.
Mm-hmm.
But my point of that is that this thing of like, once you have the proof of concept or you have proofs of concept, you just ultimately have to test it for yourself, but like see if it works. And that is the thing that I've noticed from a lot of my successful friends is they have an idea, they don't know if it's going to work. Ideally, they're kind of like modeling something that already works, out there in the world, and then they're putting it in play. But I relate that to trading because, like you said, if you have a strategy that it looks like it works, it backtests and it looks like it works, okay, now let's put it in play and like follow the strategy and execute it, and you will find out if it works. But I think that a lot of people just don't have that patience. They'll try it once. They try to take a couple of trades, they lose, and they're done. Or they try ads once, and dude, the ad didn't make money, so ads must not work for me.
Yeah.
And yeah. So what do you do with that? Like when you have somebody that is coming in, they kind of have that mindset, or you don't really have those people, or what's your experience working? Yeah.
It's really hard just because like, you can get on these and do as many podcasts to tell people over and over again what to do right, and they're still not going to do it. So it's really just like me trying to host those Zoom meetings or do those podcasts or do those videos on YouTube that explain and try to like warn people like, no, like you're not winning, you're not where you're at because you're doing these things, but people are going to ignore it. So I really just, they're going to learn from their losses. If you're coming into a group and I'm telling you like, you need to do this, or you need to stop changing your strategy, or let the probabilities play on your favor, they're just not going to do it. And then over time, they're going to figure out. I literally had someone in my group today. It was super funny. I wish I could just read it out loud, but it literally was saying something like, oh, dang, I noticed that if I just stopped taking a bunch of trades outside of session and only stuck to trading with Luca during London session, I would have passed my whole challenge or whatever, because he was reflecting on how he blew his account. And I was like, I've been trying to tell you that if you just stick to trading London session with me, take the trades I take. Last night we got a 1 to 3, which is, you risk 1%, you make 3 times whatever you're risking. Where I was like, if you have these objectives or whatever, if you can consistently make 3% a night, why are you going to try to take another trade, take more trades? How I kind of view it is that if you take the more trades you take in a day, the more kind of open to exposure and risk you're kind of making yourself. So if I take a win and I make a 3% win, I'm hesitant to get into another trade because I already took my win for the day. So I'm glad that someone like today noticed that I noticed that when I really just trade this one session and stick to what like Luke is doing here, I'm winning. But why is it when I'm outside, I'm losing, and just consistently doing it? So it just takes time for them to literally have to lose over a period of time to go, dang, maybe I should stop doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I did know what you're saying. You know, they have to almost like feel the pain from, you know, doing the wrong way in a sense.
Yeah, like every time. Yeah.
Um, okay, so I got a couple more questions for you. Obviously, being online is something that, you know, I definitely think it's needed. You know, it's needed to build a personal brand, build a business. You need to be online. You need to use social media, right? So for you, when you first started using social media, did it come natural to you? Did you go ahead and, you know, did you overthink it? You know, what was that process
Yeah.
like for you?
I definitely overthought it a lot. It was something that I never really saw myself doing. I just, once again, just liked trading because of the concept of it. And it wasn't really until I started seeing a lot of people online and what they were doing that I kind of got connected to another trader who already did have followers, was doing the online Instagram kind of YouTube thing. And by kind of just like collaborating with him and being on his YouTubes and just being friends with him, it kind of just brought followers to start following me and then wanting to see more stuff and then being like, Luca, when we put out a YouTube video, when we do this, I'm like, I never really thought of that. So then I started, you know, I put out my first strategy video on my GBP JPY strategy, and then went from that to like a vlogs, and then I came on my podcast, and it just kind of like started
Yeah.
rolling, you know what I'm saying? So I never really looked at myself as like, oh, I'm gonna do that like professionally.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say that I always have been someone that likes being social, likes being in front of people. Like, you know, I was
Mm.
in high school, I was like class president, and was also like did the rallies, so always the one with like the mic, or in the mornings doing the
Mm.
whatever. So like I was used to like that, but I didn't think after, you know, I would pursue something that was
Yeah.
you know, be like social media based. Like I said, it kind of just came along with the journey of trading.
Do you have a team, or do you do a lot of it on your end for your content? Because it sounds like you're doing a lot. The podcast, YouTube, short form
Hmm.
content, right? I guess you're going live. That's pretty easy. Click a button, but yeah.
Yeah, I was doing it all myself for a while. I do have people who help me now, but it was a grind back when I was like making less. I didn't have money to like pay people, but
Mm.
yeah, doing my own podcast, editing them all myself, while also doing YouTube videos, editing them myself, and trying to
Yeah,
do like it was a
that's a
lot.
lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I know I had to
What
do it. So yeah.
what's your team look like now? Do you have, you know, editor, poster, social media manager? Like, what's your org
Mhm.
structure look like for your content team?
So I have two different editors. One of them kind of works more on like my podcast and focuses on that, and also runs like my
Mm.
podcast Instagram. Because then
Mm-hmm.
it's just like I don't really have to mix them. Because
Mm.
I would say that the podcast editing is a lot more simple than like YouTube editing. I
Sure.
have a different YouTube editor because I really like his style and how my vlogs look and come out and stuff. It makes it really like
Mm.
entertaining and stuff. I don't have like, you know, I'm not doing hundreds of thousands of views yet, but like a lot of people who do watch my videos are like, dang, this looks like a video of like someone who's doing like a bunch, you know, views or whatever,
Mm.
because he does a really good job. So I have two different
Mm.
editors that do that. I have like an assistant who I kind of pay that helps me with just running a lot of my just groups, like my Discord or
Mm.
my Telegram, as well as just my social media, as well as booking
Mm.
my one-on-ones and doing my emails and just like
Yeah.
that type of nature. But that's kind of it at the moment. Just
And
like really
then
those
do
three.
you have a different editor for your Instagram, or that's the same with the guy that does the YouTube, or you just do that on
Yeah.
your end?
No, it depends. Yeah, a lot of the reels are from the YouTube guy, or I've made a couple. Like if there'll be sometimes I find like a really cool audio, and like I'll
Mm.
have a vision of how I kind of want it to be in like what video. So I'll kind of go and do it, but it's not as
Mm.
extreme and high um, quality as his.
Got it. And then do you find, with that being said, because I've worked with editors in both ways, and this is more on the business side, but I've done salary based, I've done per a project, I've done per a video, I've done like a
Hmm.
package, right? How do you work with your editors right now, or what do you feel like just makes sense for you with where you're at in your business?
So with the YouTube editor, I pay him per YouTube video, just
Mm.
because I don't know exactly if I'm gonna do like how many I'm gonna do a month, and because he
Mm.
is a little bit more expensive than the other person, because he's doing
Mm.
higher quality work. I think it just makes more sense to do per video.
Mm.
But that's how I do that. My assistant, I give him a salary as well as like a commission based thing, and then the other editor, I kind of have. I would say kind of on just a salary, because I just put out the same amount of podcasts each
Yeah.
month, as well as the same amount of like reels on
Reels.
Instagram, whatever he puts out and stuff. So
Got
yeah.
it. And then with that being said, what is your following like? Where were you at a year ago? Where are you at now? Like, how was that journey to actually build a following? Because you do have a
Man,
following. Yeah.
yeah. I would say that yeah, like a year ago even I was where was I a year ago? I think I was just barely hitting 20K, which was still obviously amazing. Actually, no, less than a year ago. Yeah, so I mean, I didn't have to. I don't even think I had 20K. I
Mm,
just hit. I'm about to hit 32 probably, like
mm,
next day or two or whatever. But I would say beyond like my following, like followers has gone up like 10K or whatever, but my views and stuff have just gone up like a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like,
mm,
um, yeah, I would
yeah.
say even like my Instagram reels, like just seeing reels get 60 to 100K views is amazing. Or even like my YouTube videos, like I kind of went off YouTube for a while and I came back and I've now the last 6 weeks or whatever, I've put out 6 consistent vlogs. Now I'm starting to get more traction there. Like my last video did, I think like 5K views in the first 2 days, which like, is good for me. You know what I'm saying?
Dude.
For not having vlog or not doing vlogs and then finally start posting them again and having one of them kind of pop off. I'm like, oh dang, like a couple thousand people are tuning into me a day where I just need to be consistent, you know?
Yeah. No, I think that's amazing. I mean, dude, I definitely have. I mean, there's a lot of people that can't, dude, like to them, it's even 100 views, or,
Mm-hmm.
even a couple hundred, right? So it definitely is something where, if you're consistent with that and obviously you're getting, I mean, a few 100,000 views collectively a month, would you say that's kind of where you're at, right?
Yeah, no, I
Some,
think I get like 300,000 a month or something right now. That's like my last month's was.
and that's basically, obviously this isn't your main thing, but it does fuel your group chat and your community that you run, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all of that's grown organically for the most part, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just people like seeing me, and I feel like people like the story and seeing how like
Mm,
like if you go to my Instagram, one of the different things about like my Instagram or me than a lot of other people is that you can literally scroll back and see my posts from 2021 or 2020 of like me
mm,
like just kind of starting out being a little nerd and stuff. Like I wish I kept more of them. I remember I deleted like a pretty decent amount of stuff just 'cause I was like, oh, it's kind of cringy or these profits or
mm,
whatever. But I wish I would have just kept it because it just shows the journey. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
it is a journey, and like you said, I remember like when I first was putting out my first YouTube videos and podcasts and stuff, like my goal was literally like, oh, I really hope I can hit 100 views in the first day. Like, please, I want to hit 100 views. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm,
now that it's like, oh, I can get a couple thousand in a day is amazing. Whereas like now it'll be cool, looking back at this interview in maybe a year and going, dang, I remember when I was really happy for getting 5,000 views, but now I'm getting,
mm.
like that's just what I hope the journey, continues.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, cool. So with that being said, I guess we're gonna segue to last topic is, when you were growing up, you said, hey, I was the class president, right? And it sounds like you were kind of extroverted, I guess. What did you think you wanted to do after high school, and what did you do, kind of
Yeah.
before you were trading? Yeah.
So, like I said at the beginning, I never really knew I was going to be a trader or be into finance or numbers or whatever. And, I say this in a lot of other interviews I've done is just be open-minded. Like being open-minded to like anything in life might lead you to that one thing that's just going to change your life because,
Mm,
you probably can say too that there's certain things or jobs you've done or things that you've enjoyed that you just never thought you would. You know what I'm saying? So for me, um, when it came to graduating high school, I had a really good like group of friends that all had a really good head on their shoulders we all wanted to go to 4-year colleges. So I went and did that, and I went to college, did the fraternity route, and I really did not think even in college that I was going to become a trader until like I started trading my sophomore year and all this type of stuff, but I still didn't have the goal of like, oh, this will be my full-time thing. I'll do this and have businesses behind it and do social media. Like I just was trading to do it on the side for fun. Whereas like even when I went to graduate college, I already still had a little bit of a following. This was like 2 years ago. I just was starting to have a little bit of a following. Um, I had a group that I was like managing of just like some people, but I still had a job lined up as a financial advisor. I did 8 weeks of interviews, went through all these testing and just all this type of stuff to get the job. I had a connection through my fraternity, and it literally came down to like I got hired. I literally got hired. I was getting onboarded, and it was like just this whole process. And it wasn't until I was literally in the onboarding process that I was like, dang, I'm spending all this time studying and doing this for this job that I know I'll probably in a couple years be making whatever, but I'm already making this money from trading. Why don't I just go and put all my energy into one thing and see if I can make this work? Because if I can do this full time, when I was 21, 22 or whatever, when I was graduating. If I fail for a year, I'll only be 22, 23, and I still have time to go and do something else. So that was the best jump I could have ever done, was just trust myself. You know what, give yourself a year, see if it works out. If in a year you haven't grown at all and you're not really making money, then go like do it. But I really put my back against the wall and believed in myself to, you know, get it done. And like I said, it was the best, you know, thing I could have ever done.
Nice. And what was the job?
Being a financial advisor.
Okay, so it was kind of,
yeah.
I mean,
yeah, but like I said, it was so funny. I never really thought I was in the do finance, but because I became a trader and I started getting into stocks and whatever, I was like, oh, I guess financial advising would be kind of cool because it's dealing with like stocks and people's money and all that type of stuff. But yeah, you know, I'm glad I'm not doing that right now.
Yeah. All right, amazing. Well, hey, Luca, I appreciate your time. If you guys want to follow Luca, you can go ahead and actually find his social down below, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up here.